So last week we passed $1 billion in ebook sales. Ebooks outsell hardcover books now. They will outsell paperbacks next year. It's going to be, wait till this Christmas. Like, honest to God, who's not getting an ebook reader for Christmas or they don't already have one? It's the colored ones are out now. I'm waiting for Amazon and Barnes & Noble and everybody to go down on Boxing Day. Because remember when everybody was getting a computer for Christmas? And they were sending, and so on Boxing Day, your good friends were sending you Nigerian scams and emails with 14 different fonts in it because they found the font package on their Mac. So when we look at putting a mouse on top of a book or on top of a card catalog, whose needs are met by library management systems? When you go into do you have a Nordstrom's in Buffalo? I love Nordstrom's. They're just awesome stores. What an experience. And they train Nordstrom's people really well. Like librarians use the Marriott training program, the Ritz-Carlton training program, the Disney training program, or the Nordstrom's training program for customer service. Nordstrom's is the right one. All the hotel training programs are good because they show you how the design of the hotel encourages good service. When you walk into a hotel, you never see a hotel with a counter behind it, right? Because they want their employees facing out, saying hi and smiling. You know, their rules about smiling. When you walk into a library, you see somebody's big ass. Incredibly more interested in what's behind the counter. And how do we get people to face out and be real about it? It drives me crazy. And one thing, why are we so afraid of people that we have to have great big huge desks like this? Because that's what it looks like. And so my friend Don at Westerville Public Library went in on Sunday and took all the desks out. The librarians were popping pickles for at least a week because they could not handle the change. At Osceola Library, he warned them 2 weeks in advance and took them all out. So they started getting the book carts and wrapping it around the post that had the computer on it like the Indians were coming. So finally, Bert had to go and take all the carts away, and they could only have one instead of 6 wrapped around them. We're so introverted. Like a normal human population is 70% extroverted and 30% introverted, and librarianship is the other way around. So we get our energy from a different place. Extroverted and introverted doesn't mean shy or not shy. It just means where do you get your energy and how much planning do you have to do to, I surround myself with introverts because I'm such an extreme extrovert, I don't think things through. So the introverts are way more valuable because they think it through and make my ideas work. Our ideas work. But if you say mine, you get more pay. So when we go into the library management system, you go into Nordstrom's, and you sit there and say, oh, look at this. What a great store. Nordstrom's employees are taught never to ask you if you need some help. And if we could learn this in librarianship, we would be doing ourselves a great service. Every time you ask someone if they need help, you're doing 2 things that bugs them. 80% of library users prefer to work independently. And you're treating them and ruining their image of themselves as independent action people within the library. It's why self-pickup works on holds. It's why they want to look around a bit for their own and get their bearings. It's why they say, do you have a book? And we don't laugh at them because they just want to say, are you alert? Are you on? Acknowledge me. And the second thing is you just talk to them and make sure you look like you're open. So, great game last night. How'd the Bills do? Can you believe the weather? The wind blew the trees down? Whatever. It's just social because the store wants to be community oriented, and that opens. They say, okay, they're there, they're here, they're open. They just said things in English, and I understood what they said, so I could probably ask them a question later when I'm done. So you don't offend their independence, and you make sure that you make yourself look open. When you walk into Nordstrom's, do you sit there and say, gee, what I really want to do is see their inventory management system. And I want to type in red sweater and have that search response. So our OPACs, our library management systems, meet our needs. They do not meet the needs of the end users. When we look at what the needs of the end users are, let's look at where they're getting their needs met. Research I did 2 years ago showed that 50% of all searches done on a library OPAC and a selection of 300 public libraries, they came from Amazon first, and they were doing an author title search. What was Amazon delivering to them? Recommendations, overviews of what's in the book, telling you what's going on, then they were saying, where can I get it for free? How many of us are comfortable allowing our users to edit the MARC record? Like, honest to God. Yes, right. It should be. So if you've looked at bibliocommons or library things for libraries, you can create an environment where they can actually make recommendations on the community level. You go into Amazon and say, I see some gardening books here. Well, the best-selling gardening books are always xeriscaping and desert gardening. There's always a lot of them there. Because all the Canadians and all the Northerners moved to Arizona and places where nothing grows anymore. And so they have to learn a new way to get new books to garden with. And that's a good thing. Big gardening is like a big top five hobby. How many deserts do you have in Buffalo? Not many. Unless it's the Love Canal, then you just don't go there. But you're sitting there looking at a wonderful opportunity to say, position the library. Well, when we bought all these books, and gardening books are one of those things that works really well as a book. We're not buying any books for things that won't grow in this climate zone. We have a selection policy that says all the books we have here. And we're going to put them on cards and put them in the parking lot on Memorial Day weekend because the frost is over and now you can plant and we're going to do a big promotion. But how do we sit there and make those recommendations work and start to be more open to our public? So bibliocommons does some amazing things, and it starts to tie people to the library. 60% right now of library growth in cardholder membership is tied to ebooks. So people want their ebooks and do a good job on that. So again, I have to make my point so much. This guy is not his reading habits. We can deduce things from that, but how do we keep track of other kinds of things? You know that if I'm in a public library, I'm the University of the Public. What are the 3 of the top 5 universities in North America right now in the United States? Largest university is the University of Phoenix. 3rd largest is Western International. 5th largest is DeVry. All e-learning, all online, all no libraries. So you're their library. 75% of the registrants in those libraries are single mothers. That is the sweet spot for distance education for those universities. Highly motivated women with children. Highly motivated because they're the only income earner. Highly motivated because if they get their income up, finish their degree, get that certificate, become a Microsoft certified engineer, or finish their BA or whatever, their income goes up, they can afford the hockey lessons, or it was so nice to be somewhere around talking about hockey. Or they can afford the ballet lessons, or whatever they want to do for their children because they're totally motivated. Did some research with libraries, said, okay, what's going on in your library? Oh yeah, well all they do with our children's programming is they think it's free babysitting. And that's when I want to slap librarians because they don't understand what's going on. So we did the research at New York Public Library, said, okay, put your research skills training and how to get good research skills for finishing your distance education credits, that kind of stuff, motivation. They had to quadruple the number of story hours to handle the number of women coming in. Because that's what they were doing. They were dropping off the kid, high-value program. Oh, isn't it great? The kids just love it there, and they're safe, and all that sort of stuff. They care about their children. They run upstairs, get the articles and the books they need, put the kids to bed at 10 o'clock at night, and stay up till 2 in the morning finishing their essay. They go off to work. Drop the kid off and go off to work the next day. So what does your library system look like when you know that your peak use of your databases is in the middle of the day when the kids are just after school? There's that 2:30 to 6 o'clock time. Where's the secondary peak? 10 o'clock at night till 2 in the morning. That's our primary use of our databases in public and academic libraries. What does your service model look like at midnight in a library? And how do you make sure that there is a service model for that group? And there's uses for the books. Every once in a while we find morons, and we find a lot of them in teaching where they say you can't use Google or Wikipedia. Yeah, that's right. Because we should just use Britannica, because it has 800,000 articles in English in it, rather than 18 million articles in 80 languages. And we should really just not give kids 17.2 million articles that might help them develop as people. And we should say, no, you should be using Britannica, because that last volume, it's got all the footnotes in it. You can go look them up and find the reference, and then go find the original source. Because that's what the boomers did. Bullshit. Never went to that final volume. And it's a piece of crap kind of research. So the thing I like best about librarians is how subversive we are. Okay, the teacher told you that, but just, you know, what you want to know the population of China? Well, teachers are trained, teacher librarians are trained not to answer the kid's question. Because the kid's not going to be any better for having the population of China. Say, well, I know what the population of China is. I looked it up on Google, and there it is. Yeah. So where else do you want to look? Well, I found it in Wikipedia too, but I'm not allowed to use that as a reference. I said, fine, let's go to Wikipedia. I'm not allowed to use it. The teacher doesn't know that. No, you don't have to tell the teacher to use Wikipedia. I'm going to show you a trick. Go to Wikipedia. Okay, there it is, the population of China. Now go down to the bottom of the record. What do you see? Well, I see the footnote. What do you want to do? What, would you see anything there that looks good? Well, I see the CIA handbook. And then the good librarian said, do you think the CIA handbook is an authoritative source? And if you do that 1,000 times a year for their life, have you bred a better, more information literate population? Go to the original quality source and you tell the difference. And then you say to the kid, don't tell your teacher you found that via Wikipedia. Go in. We will eventually train the teachers differently. I built a 21 things model for Ohio, where you probably know the 23 things stuff that Helen and I started years ago. So now we've put 85,000 librarians through it in 70 countries in 18 different languages. So we've managed to transform some of the attitudes about social software. I hope. But